everyone. Welcome back to Perspectives with
Lisette.
and Martina. I feel like I wish I had like a tambourine. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Because like this is our welcome back. I said back. I'm tired, y'all. But welcome back video, okay? Because we have been a little absentee. Last year was a very busy year. But that's life. We are back. We're going to try to be more regular, stay tuned for your regular scheduled programming. We have a lot of good ideas. I mean, we had those last year too, but now we have even more because now our country is going to hell. So we have so much that's like coming. But yes, so everybody who's been asking and sending messages and being like, where y'all been? Where y'all at? They're like, we haven't seen y'all. So we are getting back in the swing of things. So thank you to everybody for their patience. And we have some new subscribers that we've gotten too since we've been a little absent. So we want to welcome our new subscribers. Um, so welcome. This is us. Welcome back to people who have been waiting for our content. We are here. I'm probably going to yawn about 40 times because I mentioned I'm tired. Um, but I'm here. I'm Martinez. I'm gonna turn it over to Lisette to let her, you know, let's talk. Like, what's going on?
I don't know if you want to just leave it open ended. Oh, like what's going on. But no, I am excited to be back. And I've been sharing with Martina, like I can't wait for us to start again our podcast because there's so much that's going on in our country and in our world. But it's just also just the everyday things that are happening, just in our personal lives, just be able to have this outlet to discuss and brainstorm and think out loud and vent as well. Sometimes, we just need a good
Lord.
venting session. Um
Amen.
as well. So I'm just really excited to be back, really happy to bring our discussions back to the online world and do that. So it's just going to be, as Martina said, like we had great ideas last year, but life was lifing last year, and we just could not. It wouldn't let us get it together.
Mhm. Mhm.
But we're in a different year. We're not quite halfway, but we're what, a quarter into the new year,
I think
maybe.
almost a quarter, but we are, yeah, almost at the end of the
Yeah.
first quarter.
So,
Yes.
we're gonna start this up, and we're just excited. We'll share a little bit of what is coming down, um, the line for perspectives and things like that. We'll share as well, like what's been going on with us and where we have our health journey, our wellness journey as well.
Yes.
So we might share a little bit of that as well and do that. It won't be all gloom and doom.
No, we got some fun stuff too.
We had some fun things coming as well, but as we're recording this, it's actually the first day of spring. And as y'all know, we're in Chicago, and it did not look like spring this morning. when
I
I,
look like I'm going to a cold climate.
so but if you have been following us, you know that spring and fall and winter tend to be where we shine the most and enjoy.
Yes.
So I'm excited to see, the flowers blooming and all
Oh,
of
yeah.
that and doing that. But I don't really know where we start, Martina. Like,
I think, you say we're recording this on the first day of spring, which I feel like people often see spring as like I'm thinking about, growing up in the South, we have like spring and fall church a revival, and it's like reviving stuff. I'm not gonna get too biblical on y'all right now, but I think it is some sort of a revival or like a rejuvenation, because as much as us two are okay with cold weather, it is nice because I think by the time we get to spring, you're probably like, you want to be, not that you can't be cute in the cold months because you can, and I love dressing for cold months. But you could, maybe you don't want to have a coat on. Maybe you want to like leave that coat and that cardigan at home. You can now because it's warm. You can wear your look, your cute little sundresses, your sandals. And there's this it's a time to bring it all out. As Lisette mentioned, the flowers are in blooming. It's pretty nice. I think this is kind of like a revival for us, like a rejuvenation. I think so. It's kind of like ironic that it just happened to be the first day of spring while we got snow last night. But I think it's melting outside. I've been hearing
Yeah,
the
I think
water
it's pretty much
dripping.
gone.
Yes, I think I can't see fully out my window here, but I think I've been hearing the water dripping, so I think it's melting away. But we do have a little cold snap coming, but that's okay. That's okay. Spring is upon us. But I know y'all didn't come here for us to talk all about spring. So, you know, as Lisette mentioned, we've have like just been kind of a crazy year last year, 2024, not just for us, but for the country as well. As we will get into here, we're gonna keep the lively conversations coming, and I think with really just are we 3 months into the administration? We might be. Are we 3 months into the administration?
February, March, we're 2 months in.
Okay, but it
Two,
feels like 3 years, right?
two
It
months.
Yes, we're only 2 months, which is so wild. And for both of us, because we work in healthcare. So,
Yeah.
it's a mess. I mean, healthcare was a mess before this came along. Now it's even more so a mess. And it's going to continue
Sorry to
being
know
a
about
mess because there's no plans to improve healthcare in this country,
no.
that would benefit everybody in this country. So we're gonna spend time, of course, talking about how healthcare is real fucked up, and how the other areas are fucked up as well. Education, let's see, international relations. For some reason, this country seems to want to pick on other countries just because somebody
Mhm.
didn't get that all out when they were 16 years old. So we're just gonna pick on other countries, who are doing much better than us, probably all around.
Yeah.
But even if they're not, I still, I'm still going to talk about us because I think in this country, we deserve to be talked about right now. We do.
Yes.
It's sad. There's so many good people here in this country, and I think, or I hope, the other countries across the world, just as like we have sat here and watched other countries go through turmoils and revolutions and dictators. I think it's our turn. Like it's now the world is looking at us because we're going through the same issues a lot of our allies or other countries have been going through. So I think it's time for America to have a taste of what it's like or what it's been like for some other countries.
Mm,
But I hope people across the world can see not all of us are crazy. Okay. Not all of us voted for that. And honestly, I don't think that person won the election fairly anyway. Um, but that's just a part, like a little tidbit of what we're gonna be talking about because we got content for 4 years, you know. And I think one thing too, like we will get into probably more towards the end of the year or maybe next year, is that we need to be ready for the 2028 election,
yeah.
presidential election, but people also need to be ready for their local and state elections as well. So we want to spend some time, like I said, maybe towards the end of the year, starting next year, really kind of looking at, civic education. What does that look
Yeah.
like? What does that, look like right now? And how some people just don't want to be educated around the issue. They want to be just kind of dumb. And we have an administration right now that speaks to that dumbness and that stupidity. So those people, they are having their moment right now. But I want people to know who are watching this in Greenland because they have picked on Greenland. And I don't know why. I'm sorry, Greenland. They've picked on you. I look like I have like this stripe down my face right now.
You do.
The way the sun is shining. I kind of like it. I'm trying to align with it. But anyway, back to Greenland. So sorry, but Greenland's just one of the countries that's being picked on for
Yeah.
because our administration is a bunch of teenagers who are hiring a bunch of teenagers with no experience. So people make sure your credit reports are locked. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
I turn it to Lisette. Say something.
No, I think it's so much truth to what you just kind of outlined. I think there's a lot of ways that we could, continue the conversation today. We won't get into all those because it's so so much has happened in our country in just 2 months.
Mm.
And like you said, like it feels like it has been years, right? And like you're hearing this, and there's fears, there's chaos, there's uncertainty, and everything. And um, we're not going to gloss over any of that. Like we we are seeing it in our communities, we're seeing it in our work as well, and how it's kind of impacting. We're seeing it in our personal lives as well, and how we've had to, maybe change some of the things that how we navigate and whatnot. So, maybe not in this first episode, but maybe in the second episode, we might get in a little bit more um of some of these. But I think one of the things that we really had even last year, we really wanted to get into this civic engagement, and we just didn't get a chance to do it. But I think it's so important for any platform out there,
Yeah.
any person that cares about what's really happening to our communities, to our country, to really dig into what is civic engagement, what is why do we vote, why do we have senators? Why do we have like why are all these,
Why do these things
politicians out here
exist?
and what they do? Because honestly, there are some people in our government that, align with what, I'm voting under, and some of them are just dropping the ball. Just,
You're
completely
definitely
like,
dropping the ball.
if you don't
Mm.
know by now, we vote Democrat. Like we're not you can know that.
I don't like, I hate saying I'm a Democrat right now, but
I said
shit.
I vote Democrat.
I said, yeah. I actually think I said Dem crack. So I'm not a crack. Yes, I vote Democrat.
But yes,
Democratic. Maybe that's it.
democratically, maybe. I don't know.
Democratically. Sure.
Yeah.
I love making something into like an adjective or
Yeah.
adverb, which I think that's
Yeah.
an adverb. But yes, I love
Body.
adding my LYs.
Yeah. Um, and there's a lot of just things that I question of like, why do that? Or why not do this? Or why is this person still leading when they should just be sitting down and letting the next generation come and take
Amen.
so there's a lot of that too. Like, um we're not out here to like praise one party over the other, but we are, we'll be critical of what's happening, especially in this time and age of what's happening in our country, in the United States. And, we all have to really be diligent and play a role. And, Martina and I are like, we can play our little role of like what can we bring awareness around and have spaces where we can talk about what's happening and
Yeah.
what we would like to do or what we'd like to see. I think Martina was asked, like, okay, there's all this dismantling of things, but what's the plan
Yeah.
after? Like, what's replacing it? And if you've been following or watching us for a while, it's the number one question we always ask. Like, okay, we can dismantle all these things and we can,
Hmm.
like, but where's the plan to like replace it, to fix it, to put something, to create something completely new, and do that. So I think that's what a lot of us are also like asking ourselves now. Like, okay, what is that? Like, what does that look like? Um, because you can, dismantle all sorts of departments and then, but if you got no plan for once they're gone, like where does that leave us? And what do we do? So, but I don't know. I think before we get into all of
Hmm.
the deeper things, I think I'd love to just kind of share a little bit of like where we've been at, like a little bit
Hmm.
of like what's been going on. I know I think the last series we kind of put out there was Growing Old in America.
Yes.
I think that was it. And I hopefully if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, I say go back. It really just kind of outlines and it's Martine and I sharing about our journeys with our parents and how they're navigating um really as they're getting older, as they're navigating things like Medicare, Medicaid, our healthcare system as as seniors and like older individuals and what that looks like. And how if you don't have millions to retire with, it is a very hard journey to grow old in America. The cost of everything
Mm-hmm.
is crazy. So I would just say if you're interested in hearing about that journey or interested in that topic, go back and listen. It is the last series that we did and put out there. So please feel free to go back and listen to that and encourage you, because if you do have elderly individuals in your life, whether it's parents, uncles, aunts, or just other
Yeah.
individuals, it's really important to really start thinking of like what does that mean for your family? What does that mean for them? What they need to prepare. And I think Martina continue to learn things that we need to prepare for, and things like a living will and estate planning and all these things that, and just like, okay, what kind of healthcare do our parents need, and like what kind of resources, and to qualify for help you might need to be extremely poor, sell your assets, and like all these
I,
things
I
like
thought you said, I thought you said you got to sell ass. Sometimes you might. I don't know. You might have to. That's your business. Judging.
assets,
I ain't judging. I
Martina.
ain't judging. I have no right to judge
This
anybody.
economy, some people might.
You might have to. Listen,
I can't
stuff
be.
out here.
I'm
I ruined
done.
your whole frame of thought.
Done. I don't even know where I was going with that.
Well, okay, you finished.
Oh my gosh. But no, again, encourage you to go listen to that if that's a topic that maybe it's been on your mind. In doing that. The other thing that Martina and I have been continue to be, and it's an everyday thing, is our wellness journey. And y'all, I'll just say it's been a struggle bus with that wellness. Like, because um you hit a plateau and that plateau does not want to move.
It is, yeah.
You're just
It's plateauing.
stalled.
Yes, it stalls.
You're stalled. So I'll just share a little bit of like where I'm at. I don't remember what I shared the last time we did a check-in in our wellness journey. But it's sort of coming back. I think I'm down 111 pounds now. Um, from in total from the journey. For those that don't know, Martina and I started a wellness journey, ooh, back in
You started a
20,
little bit before I did.
I think I did 2023. So,
Yeah.
or
Wait,
no,
21. Wait, no, 22. Maybe, huh? You've been 22?
2022.
Because
I
you were
think,
like, it was November or December. I remember, like,
yeah,
because
yeah,
we were
yeah,
seeing Adele. I think that,
yes,
yes, we just
yes.
started, yes,
2022. Thank
22.
you. So November of 2022. No shame. I got on one of those injectable medications, Manjaro, on my end. And if y'all are interested in hearing how that journey went, we also have it documented. So feel free to
You do.
go
Yeah.
back and and watch some of those. And you can also see the transformation from then to now around it. But I think in the first about year and a half, that's where I hit the 100 pound loss. And after that, it's sort of been a very slow go of it. I'm still on the medication, I'm still taking it. It's definitely more about helping my type 2 diabetes. So I did get on the medication, not particularly for weight loss. That's just sort of a benefit of that came from it. Was more to really get my A1C under control and sort of my blood sugar under control. And thankfully, that has stayed under control. It has maintained to be under control and doing that. And that's has been and will continue to be the goal, is to make sure to keep that in check. So every time I've gone in, my A1C has been at a good spot in doing that. And it really now is just for me, I would love to lose an additional 30 pounds. That is my goal, to just kind of get and that would bring me under that 200 pound mark. And that's what I'm looking for. That has been the goal for
That
the
has been the goal for the last 2 years. We've been, woo, you said yeah, that plateau is real. It will keep, man,
and sometimes I'm like, oh, I see progress, and then like, kidding.
it's like, just kidding. We're gonna make you work a whole nother year to get these 5 points off.
I was like, so that has just been interesting. But I think one of the great things I think for me is just learning for myself that I can maintain
Mm.
keeping the weight off. And I think that is, I will credit a little bit more towards the medication and helping that food noise to just kind of, stay away. And I think I shared it before, like I love to snack. I love snacks. I love sweets. I am a sweet tooth person. And I love my pizza. Mm.
You and the pizzas for real.
I mean, yeah, I've shared before. I keep pizza every day. But um, again, just the idea of just being able to keep um the weight off and maintain the weight that I've lost and not gaining it back and things like that. I think a lot of times um these medications have a lot of uh bad reputation or stigma because they're like, oh no, like, but again, this is, to me, it's like a lifelong medication. It's just something that's going to help me keep
Hmm.
my blood sugar under control. And again, the weight loss and the health improvements have just been a part of it, a part of that journey. But yeah, but that's sort of just a little update, just as we're coming back, for you all to know that I know we continue to talk about it, and before we went a little hiatus, and wanted to make sure I circled back on it. But Martina, I don't know if you want to share anything from your end.
Yeah, spring is here because it got a little warm. Had to undo that, but it's a part of the outfit, so I can't take it completely off. Um, so as Lisette mentioned, she started that November of 22. So I started in January of 23. I
Hmm.
remember my whole thing is not wanting to start before because you did it, you started around the holidays. And I was always like, I want to eat.
You did.
And you were like, Martina, you can still eat what you want to eat. No, but I want to eat and I don't want like any, so I just want to enjoy the holidays. So that was my biggest, because I think I was hesitant just in general. Like, and
Yeah,
I was really like, didn't want to do it around the holidays, especially because I like to eat. Um, which I know most people probably enjoy eating.
yeah,
But I did. I got on it in January, and I would say I'm not at the 100 mark yet. I'm probably a few pounds away from being like have lost 100 pounds. Um, but I think since I've been on this, it's like 90 something. I've lost like 90 something, I think, pounds.
yeah.
Obviously, if I say I'm like a few points away from being like from being under 200. Um, but yes, I think, the biggest thing for me with obviously this whole injectables journey is, yes, it is keeping my levels, keeping that at a good range, as you mentioned, the A1C, so cholesterol and all that,
Hmm.
keeping that good, which all of that has been good. Um, thanks to this medication that I have access to. But I think the biggest thing has been the food noise. Like for me, that is it is makes such a difference.
Yeah,
Like not having to think about food. And for me, it's even kind of like the flip side is where I don't think about food at all sometimes. So I have
yeah,
to like keep food around or try to keep food around, like we mentioned snacks, but try to have more like the healthy snacks, like a cheese stick or some apples.
yeah.
Lisette loves that cottage cheese.
I do.
Um, trying to have like my Fairlife, even though I don't really want to talk about Coca-Cola right now, but that Fairlife, man,
Sorry.
it has a grip. That
Has a hold
Fairlife,
on me.
it has a grip. The Fairlife, because like really I was just finding like I would go the whole day. And I have mentioned this over, the times we've spoken about our journey, but trying to like, make myself like eat because we do have to eat. That's the whole point. You got to get your nutrients. You have to eat. So the food for me, the food noise, that elimination of that, or it's more silent, I would say, probably not completely eliminated, but it's much, much more
Definitely.
better controlled. Um, and that is a big factor. I've also been like working out. I will say going from my walking pad to my elliptical is a motherfucker. Let me tell you, my walking pad, I could be on that every day. And I was just about on it every day. The elliptical, let me tell y'all, I ain't got money for those high tech $1,000 ones. No, no, no. I have one that's a little bit more in my price range, but I do have one. And so I've been trying to kind of maintain working out at least 2 to 3 times a week. With the walking pad, it was more than that because I'm just getting my ass on there and walking. That's,
Hmm.
but elliptical, you got to put some, you got to put some in it. And so I've been trying to like stay on top of that. I've skipped a few days, skipped more than a few days. Um, but you know what I kind of a motivator is I will get up in the morning and put my workout clothes on. That helps. Does it help every time? No, ma'am, it does not. But it helps because at that point I know that okay, I already got the damn clothes on. I might as well go work out. So, you know, there's little things I do to try to keep myself honest and accountable, which this country has a thing with accountability. But I try to keep myself accountable with that and be like, yes, I'm gonna work out. So those I think, yes, the working out, trying to maintain that and keep doing that a few times a week. And I try to do like up to an hour, sometimes it's 30 minutes, depending on my mood. But I've been trying to do up to an hour each time I do work out. Um, and you know, so that on top of the injectables. And even myself, I've kind of plateaued. I think we both have in I think a way.
Yeah.
We've kind of just been maintaining, you know, not gaining, not necessarily losing. But just maintaining. And so I think, yeah, that we're, you know, obviously going to continue talking about that journey. You know, it might be like, you know, just as we're, you know, maybe talking about a series on civic education, just maybe popping in a few minutes talking about the journey. But we're also going to have like series too, like, you know, kind of get more in depth, maybe talking to other people about their journeys as well. And so, you know, that's just really just a little bit of the content that we have in store and to keep y'all, you know, up to date on things and yeah, be more present, you know, that's what we would like to do. So, yeah, I'll turn it over to Lisette to give us a wrap up.
Yeah. So this first episode, we just really wanted to kind of say we're back. We're here. We're excited to be back in our like platform in our home. This is really like another home for us.
Yeah.
In doing that. So we hope that you know continue to tune in. We're gonna try to be very diligent about like our weekly episodes. Please show us grace. As well, but you know there'll be some lives coming as
Oh,
well,
yes.
so keep an eye out on our Instagram, on our Facebook. We you know we post there and things like that. But thank you for sticking with us, for you know reaching out and checking in as well.
Yes.
So thank you to all those that were like, hey, we're excited, you know, when are you coming back and all these things. So thank you all, and we are really looking forward to the things that we have planned out and in mind to bring conversations around things that are going to be like topics that are evergreen, so like things that you know that aren't tied to like what's happening in the now. There's going to be a lot of conversations of what's happening in the now because we are
Hey.
not putting our heads in the sand either.
Mm-mm.
Like we are fully aware of those things. So definitely come back because we are going to get into some of those things and what our thoughts are on what's been happening and you know the things that are going on. So again, thank you. We look forward to you joining us again. And we will, you know, see you and talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.